What's up, and welcome back to another Walking Dead review. And as it's another Sunday, it means another episode's come out, and it means another review. So welcome to the episode 7 Promises Broken review. Let's get right into it and talk about what happens in this episode. So first of all, there are lots of storylines going on, and I'm gonna break this into, I think there's 4. Okay, we have 4 storylines going on. So we have the Plot A storyline, which is, I assume it's the Plot A storyline, which is Maggie, Gabriel, that other guy, Elijah, and Negan trying to figure out how to get to Meridian. And they come up with the idea of becoming whisperers and using walkers. So it's literally, the whole episode is about them just kind of getting ready with that, and Maggie getting used to wearing a mask. That's kind of their plot. That does sound quite boring, but the best thing about that plot is there's lots of Maggie and Negan conflict, and those two characters together is literally gold mine. And it makes it very watchable TV because you just have a lot of those two characters together. Like Elijah and Gabriel have been sidelined. Like Gabriel gets told to go off, and Elijah just kind of hides in a bush. You just get a lot of Maggie and Negan just talking to each other and being like, well, if I did this or that, and they're like they're just forced together, and I really like how they're forced together. It feels organic. Like, you don't feel like, oh, they're going to be forced together just because he killed her husband and we want drama. No, it just feels like they're together because of all these issues, and all these things that happened for a reason. It didn't feel like these were forced to happen. It just felt like it naturally happened, and they naturally come together, and I quite like it. Now move on to Plot B, which I was originally thinking which one's meant to be Plot A, but I've decided the Whisperer stuff is Plot A, because it feels like that could be a Plot B though. But Plot B / second Plot A is to do with the Commonwealth, and this is a very Commonwealth heavy episode. Makes sense because the next episode is going to have very little Commonwealth, and apparently it's all Alexandria, which is gonna suck. But it is very Commonwealth heavy, and you have a lot of Commonwealth. Like, you got Yumiko basically getting ready to go and meet Pamela, and that's literally her whole thing is like, I'm about to meet Pamela. Ooh, let me talk to your manager, and that's all she does. And she's literally about to meet Pamela. I love how they're just going like, yeah, you want to meet Pamela? And they mention it every episode. It's just Pamela, and you're like, where can we see this lady? But I don't think it's going to happen for like another 2 episodes maybe. And those 2 plots are kind of the more interesting and best parts of the episode, because you got Yumiko literally carrying the Commonwealth bit. You're like, I really want to meet Pamela, because it's just so much like mystery about her, and I really love it. Like, ooh, who is she? But if you know comics, you know who she is. But if you don't, you're like, who is this Pamela? And you got Negan and Maggie doing that, and that's the best parts. And the other two plots, they're kind of basic. Like the Plot C, which is also a Commonwealth one, which deals with the other characters from the Commonwealth, and you're pretty sure you know who they are. Kind of just killing walkers and serving a sentence, and it doesn't go well at the end. And I feel like right at the end, which is quite cool, I feel like maybe Lance was doing some dodgy things and set something up to hurt one of the characters that's in this plot, which that's all I'm gonna say. But I feel like somebody was set up at the end of this episode right at the end, because it's a bit coincidental that happened. But I feel like there was a setup at the end of this plot, which I thought that's the best part of the whole plot, but everything else was quite boring. But then we go to the worst one, which is Plot D, which is literally just Daryl and Leah just kind of walking around, having talks, going da 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 da, and that's kind of it. That just nothing really happens with Daryl and Leah. They're just kind of there, and you're like, wow, I could have not dealt with that. I could have not seen that. Had no intrigue. I do want to talk about the pacing, because this episode just feels like it is just build up and filler. It's like, hey, oh, we're going to have a 2-part finale. It felt like a 2-part finale. Like, this episode ends, we're like, okay, this episode concluded nothing. All it did was had a bunch of characters build up for the final Reaper fight. That's all it did, kind of. It just kind of felt stretched out. This episode did feel stretched out. It was fun. 2 plots were really fun, but I feel like they could have been shorter. Like, especially the Maggie and Negan stuff. Okay, that could have been shorter. We didn't have to have a whole episode of Maggie wearing a Whisperer mask. Okay, that just felt like they stretched it. There was lots going on this episode as well. The pacing was a bit all over the place with, oh, we got this, then we're going to jump over and watch Daryl and Leah just kind of talk and do nothing. It's maybe the worst paced episode so far. I didn't like it as much just because it was just build up and no payoff, like the first episode of season 11, which was just build up and no payoff. This was the same. So I hope next episode is all payoff, because this episode by itself was pretty shoddy. Just build up, no payoff. I didn't like it. Now going to the looks. Guess what? It looks gorgeous again. We had 2 to 3 plots looking great. They had the gorgeous look. It was very sunny. It was very clear. You had yellows and stuff. It was pretty. Like, I was like, yes, that looks amazing. I love the new way The Walking Dead looks. I was looking at old seasons and they look terrible. They see like green, you see little grain things on the screen. They look bad. And then you got this HD mother-loving beauty load of flowers and it's like, And then we get the Daryl and Leah subplot and they have the stupid like blue tint and it looks so ugly. I hate it. Like, it reminds me of Fear, and they got rid of it for Alexandria when they had that Alexandria episode. It was just like, yay. And then they gave it to this plot and it really annoyed me because I hate the way it looks. And it's the whole thing with Daryl and Leah. They're just walking through the woods and everything's blue and I'm like, it looks a bit too blue. Like, it's a bit too much. And why? If there's like it's stupid. Okay, Fear made sense why I had 2 different like color gradients, the future and the past in season 4. Okay, but if the other 3 parts of the episode look good, why is this one part, this really small part, looking like a blue potato? It's disgusting. I hate the blue gradient. Either put it over the whole episode, which would be terrible, or get rid of it. Don't just have it in a tiny bit. You make it look so different and I hate it. I don't know why they do it, but I have to stop ranting about this. So I'm going to move on to the one word final like overall review. Now, looking at this episode, I cannot say it's a great episode. I'm just going to have to say it's an okay episode that just felt drawn out. So, okay, but just paced badly. What would a one word or one sentence be for that? It's just there. It's an episode, okay? It's not a good episode. I enjoyed half the episode. I hated the other half. It's a mixed bag. That's what I'm going to say. It's a mixed bag episode, okay? Watch this just knowing it's only build up for the final episode of this third, okay? It's a mixed bag. But what did you think about this episode? Please tell me, and I'll talk to you guys later. So goodbye. If you want more reviews, look around on the screen. There should be somewhere there. And peace out. Goodbye.